For this video, we're going to be talking about the order of operations that include positive and negative integers. Now, there's probably an acronym that you're familiar with when you're doing order of operations, so you know which operations to do in what order. So, BEDMAS is that acronym. We're just going to review what each one of those letters stands for, so we remember the proper order in order of operations. B stands for brackets. And you'll see my example over there where there is an operation to be solved within the bracket. Exponent. So here we have our power, our base, and the exponent is that number, that's that superscript with the base. Division and multiplication in the order they appear from left to right. We're going to do an example where we have a division, and we'll talk about what to do in that situation. But most cases, it's left to right, reading across. And then addition and subtraction in the order they appear from left to right. All right, so let's get into the equations. First, when you're doing order of operations, especially when you're doing with positive and negative integers, is you really want to look at the equation and think about what's being asked. One of the misconceptions that students have is they confuse the operation symbol of subtraction with the negative integer symbol. And we'll talk about ways to avoid that and look out for it. All right, so looking at this equation, 100 subtract 3. So it's not a negative integer. This is the operation symbol. 100 subtract 3. Then we have the 3 up against these brackets. What operation is there? Yes, it's multiplication. So 100 subtract 3 multiplied by 20 divided by negative 2. So we see that we have those brackets around the integer negative 2. There isn't an operation within these brackets, but it's to separate from the operation symbol and the negative symbol. So this is something that you're going to want to be aware of and notice, and also put into your own equations to make sure you can differentiate between the operation and the negative symbol. All right, so looking at my order of operations, B comes first, so bracket. So I have my bracket here, I have an operation within it, so I need to solve for that first. So everything else in my equation stays the same. So 100 subtract 3 divided by. So 20 divided by negative 2. Negative 10. So my new equation is 100 minus subtract 3 multiplied by negative 10. All right, next on my order of operations is exponents. I don't have any of those. Division and multiplication left to right. So my first operation is subtraction. I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to move on to my multiplication operation. So the other part of my equation stays the same. 100 subtract 3 multiplied by negative 10. Negative 30. Do you see how I put the negative 30 within brackets? That's to separate it from the operation symbol, so that you want to get into the habit of doing that. And then I can move on, addition, subtraction. 100 subtract negative 30. I'm just going to equal 130. All right, let's move on to B. So let's read the equation first. So it says 4 multiplied by negative 8 plus 2 divided by negative 6. Okay? I see these brackets here, which is where I would start. However, there is not an operation in there because the brackets are there to separate that negative integer from the operation. All right? So I go down to exponents. There are no exponents. Division and multiplication left to right. Now, this one, we have our division sort of below. How does that fall in? Well, for an equation represented like this, you need to solve the top part of the equation before you can do the operation at the bottom. And I'll explain more as we move on. So division and multiplication, I'm going to do that first. So I see I have 4 multiplied by negative 8, which is negative 32 plus 2 divided by negative 6. All right? When we have this equation, it is the total of the top of the division line that is divided by negative 6. It's not each individual term divided by negative 6. So we're going to solve this entire equation at the top before we divide, all right? So I'm going to continue moving down my order of operations for the top equation. Addition and subtraction, so I'm going to work this out. Negative 32 minus 2 is, negative 32 plus 2, right? So I have negative 30 divided by negative 6. Now I can work out this operation. So negative 30 divided by negative 6, 5. All right, and our last equation, 2 subtract negative 3 to the exponent 2. So again, you see that the negative integer is within brackets. That's to separate it from the operation so that we're not confused. So I look at brackets, yes, I have one, but there isn't an operation in there. So I don't need to solve this. Next is exponents. I have that. So remembering what exponents represents. So this is equal to negative 3 multiplied by negative 3. Excellent. So I have my 2, subtract negative 3 multiplied by negative 3, 9. 2, subtract 9. If you want to do that with integer trials, you can, equals negative 7. And there's your review of order of operations with positive and negative integers.